Here's a fact that should shake you to your core. A study from the Federal Reserve found that 30% of Americans cannot cover 3 months of expenses by any means. None. Zero. If they lost their job tomorrow, they would be in serious trouble. But here's what's even more shocking. Another study by Bankrate discovered that 59% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a surprise $1,000 expense. Not $10,000, not $5,000, $1,000. And yet, the path to making your money grow is not complicated. Today, I'm going to give you the complete roadmap. Every step, every strategy, every secret that separates people who build real wealth from those who stay broke forever. This is not theory. This is proven by research, backed by data, and used by actual millionaires. And the best part? You don't need to be a genius. You don't need a high salary. You just need to follow the system. Let me introduce you to the most powerful force in wealth building. Albert Einstein allegedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. It's called compound interest. And once you truly understand it, your entire view of money will change forever. Here's how it works. When you invest money, you earn returns. But with compound interest, you earn returns on your returns. Your money starts making babies, and those babies make babies. And this is how ordinary people become millionaires. According to historical data from the S&P 500, the average annual return with dividends reinvested is approximately 10% over the past 97 years. That's not a fantasy, that's history, documented, proven, available to anyone willing to be patient. Now let me show you what 10% actually means for your future. There's a simple formula that will help you calculate how fast your money doubles. It's called the Rule of 72. You take 72 and divide it by your interest rate. That number? That's how many years until your money doubles. So with a 10% return, 72 divided by 10, that's roughly 7.2 years. In just over 7 years, your money becomes twice as much. And in another 7 years, it doubles again. Your 10,000 becomes 20. Your 20 becomes 40. According to financial research, at a 7.2% compounding rate, $50,000 would double 3 times to $400,000 during a 30-year time frame. If you gave it another 10 years, it would double once more to $800,000. This is where you do things like turning your small savings into retirement wealth, watching your investments grow while you sleep, and building your children's college fund without constant stress. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. The biggest factor in building wealth is not how much you invest, it's how long you invest. Time is your greatest weapon, and every day you wait is a day you're throwing money away. Research from Lafayette Federal Credit Union compared 2 investors. Emily started at age 25, investing $200 per month at a 7% return. John started at 35 with the same amount and same return. By 65, Emily had over $500,000. John? Much less. The 10-year head start made a massive difference. Not because Emily invested more money, but because she gave her money more time to grow. Time turns small amounts into fortunes, but only if you start. So the question becomes, are you starting today? Or are you giving away your most valuable asset? There's a milestone in wealth building that financial experts call the hardest dollar. It's your first $100,000. But here's what's fascinating. Once you hit that number, everything changes. According to wealth management research, getting to your first $100,000 is crucial because after that, compound interest takes over. Saving the next $100,000 happens faster, often with less effort. If you invest $100,000 in the stock market with an average 10% return, your investment could double every 7.2 years. After 7.2 years, that's $200,000. In 14 years, $400,000, without adding another dollar. This is where you watch your money do the heavy lifting, where you realize patience is more profitable than chasing quick wins, and where you finally understand why wealthy people seem to get richer effortlessly.
Now let me tell you something critical. A landmark study published by the National Bureau of Economic Research discovered something that changes everything. Financial literacy has a stronger effect on wealth than general education. The researchers found that knowing how money works, understanding concepts like compound interest, inflation, and diversification directly leads to greater wealth accumulation. Not going to a fancy school, not having a high IQ, knowing how money works. This study showed that investments in financial literacy could have large positive effects on household wealth. The people who understood basic financial concepts accumulated more money over their lifetimes, much more. And that's exactly why you're watching this video right now, because knowledge is the foundation of wealth. Here's one of the biggest lies society tells you. High income equals wealth. Wrong. So wrong. Research by Dr. Thomas Stanley, who spent over 40 years studying millionaires, completely destroyed this myth. According to his findings, 80% of American millionaires are first-generation wealthy. They didn't inherit their money. They accumulated it during their own lifetimes. Many work in unglamorous fields. They're contractors, accountants, small business owners. And here's the kicker. Most live in modest homes. In regular neighborhoods, they drive ordinary cars. They don't wear expensive watches or designer clothes. They look nothing like what you'd expect a millionaire to look like. The research showed that people who look rich are often not wealthy, while people who look average often are. Income is not wealth. Wealth is what you keep. Dr. Stanley surveyed thousands of millionaires to understand their habits, and the findings were, honestly, a bit surprising. These wealthy individuals shared common traits that anyone can adopt. Based on his research, most millionaires reported being frugal. Not cheap, frugal. They avoid wasteful spending on luxury items that don't increase in value. They buy quality, but they don't buy flashy. They do things like purchasing reliable, used vehicles instead of depreciating new luxury cars, living in the same modest neighborhood for decades while their wealth grows, and spending their energy researching investments rather than researching which expensive watch to buy next. Being a millionaire is more about mindset than money. It's about discipline, patience, and a refusal to look wealthy before you are wealthy. The single most important habit of wealth building? Live below your means. Every millionaire study confirms this. The gap between what you earn and what you spend, that gap is where wealth is born. According to Dr. Stanley's research, the typical millionaire's total annual taxable income is less than 7% of their wealth. That means they spend less than 7% of their net worth each year. They're not living lavishly, they're living strategically. On average, these wealth builders invest 20% of their household income annually. 20%. While most people save nothing or almost nothing, millionaires are consistently putting money to work. I know what you're thinking, but I don't make enough to save 20%. We'll address that, I promise. Keep watching. Before you invest anything, you need protection. According to Empower Research, the median emergency savings for Americans is just $500, and 32% have no emergency savings at all. This is dangerous. Without an emergency fund, any unexpected expense, a car repair, a medical bill, a job loss, forces you into debt, and debt destroys wealth faster than almost anything else. Financial experts recommend saving 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's your safety net, your protection against life's surprises. A study by Vanguard found that having just $2,000 saved was associated with 34% higher financial well-being. This is where you protect yourself from having to borrow money at high interest rates, from raiding your retirement accounts early, and from falling into the debt spiral that traps millions of people. So how do you build an emergency fund when money feels tight? You make it automatic. You take the decision out of your hands, because willpower fails. Research in behavioral economics from the Save More Tomorrow program proved that when saving is automatic, people save more. When they have to actively choose to save each month, they often don't. But automatic transfers, those work. Open a separate savings account. Set up an automatic transfer for the day after you get paid. Even $50. Even $25. The amount matters less than the habit. Start small,
increase it over time. Let automation do the work. This strategy uses inertia in your favor. Once the transfer is set up, most people never turn it off. They just keep saving without thinking about it, without effort. There's a principle that wealthy people have used for generations. According to behavioral finance research, it's called pay yourself first. And it works because it changes how you think about money. Here's the idea. Most people pay their bills, buy what they want, and then save whatever's left. But there's never anything left. Right? Sound familiar? Pay yourself first flips this. You treat your savings like a bill. The first thing you pay is you. Before rent, before food, before entertainment. You move money to savings immediately when you get paid. If you save whatever's left at the end of the month, you won't have anything left. That's not a theory, that's human nature. But I can only save a tiny amount. I hear this objection constantly, and my answer is always the same. Small amounts, given time, become enormous amounts. Let's do the math. If you invested just $100 per month at 10% return in 30 years, you'd have over $200,000 from $100 a month. That's the power of consistency plus compound interest. According to compound interest research, investing $1,000 at 5% interest would grow to $1,050 in the first year. Then that total earns interest, and it keeps compounding, year after year after year. The phrase, time is money, comes alive with compound interest. The longer you invest, the more time your money has to grow and compound. Start with whatever you can. The key is to start. You cannot build wealth if you don't know where your money is going. A budget isn't a restriction, it's a roadmap. It shows you exactly how to reach your financial destination. According to financial capability research, budgeting skills are strongly relevant to savings behavior. People who track their income and expenses make better financial decisions. Period. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware. This is where you realize that $20 a day on random purchases adds up to $600 a month, where you discover subscriptions you forgot about, and where you find hidden money you've been wasting without even knowing. Creating a budget takes less than an hour, but the awareness it creates, that lasts forever. If budgeting seems overwhelming, start with a simple framework. It's called the 50-30-20 rule, and it's beautifully simple. 50% of your income goes to needs, housing, food, transportation, utilities, the essentials. 30% goes to wants, entertainment, dining out, shopping, things you enjoy but don't need. And 20%? That goes to savings and debt repayment. This 20% is building your future, your emergency fund, your investments, your path to wealth. Is this rule perfect for everyone? No. Some people need to adjust, but it's a starting point, a framework, something to build from. Don't let perfect be the enemy of started. Here's a truth that might sting. If you're paying 20% interest on credit card debt while earning 10% on investments, you're going backwards. High-interest debt is a wealth destroyer. According to Federal Reserve data, Americans collectively owe over $1 trillion in credit card debt, with average interest rates around 24%. That's absolutely crushing people's finances. Before aggressive investing, eliminate high-interest debt. Anything above 7 or 8% interest should be attacked first. Pay minimums on everything else. Throw every extra dollar at that high-interest monster. Once that debt is gone, all that money you were paying in interest, now it works for you. Now it builds your wealth instead of the bank's. Not all debt is equal. Some debt can actually help you build wealth. It's important to understand the difference. Bad debt is borrowing money to buy things that lose value. Credit cards for shopping, car loans for expensive vehicles, personal loans for vacations. This debt drains your wealth over time. Good debt, carefully used, can increase your wealth. A mortgage on a reasonably priced home. Student loans for education that significantly increases your earning potential. Business loans that generate more income than they cost. This is where you think about whether this purchase will make you richer or poorer over time, whether you're borrowing to build something valuable or just to consume immediately, and whether the interest rate is low enough that your investments could potentially earn more. Many people avoid investing because they think it's like gambling. It's not. Gambling has a negative expected return. Over time, the house always wins. But investing? Over time, investors generally win. According to historical S&P 500 data, there's no period of at least 18 years in the index's history that hasn't produced a positive, real return on investment. 18 years? That's the power of long-term investing. Yes, the market goes up and down. Yes, there are scary years. 2008 saw a 37% drop, but those who stayed invested, they recovered. And then some. The market has always recovered historically. Timing the market is gambling. Time in the market, that's investing. Now we get to the good stuff. Where should you actually put your money? For most people, the answer is surprisingly simple. Index funds. An index fund is a collection of stocks that tracks a market index, like the S&P 500. When you buy an S&P 500 index fund, you're essentially buying a tiny piece of the 500 biggest companies in America. Instant diversification. According to research from S&P Dow Jones Indices, roughly 90% of active equity fund managers underperform their index over 10-year periods. 90%! The professionals can't beat the simple index. Why pay someone to try to beat the market when they'll probably fail? Just buy the market instead. Let me explain the difference between active and passive investing. This matters enormously for your wealth. Active investing means trying to beat the market, picking individual stocks, timing when to buy and sell, hiring expensive fund managers to make decisions. It sounds smart. It feels like the professional approach. Passive investing means simply matching the market through index funds. No stock picking, no market timing, just buying and holding a diversified portfolio. It sounds, boring? According to Spiva research, over 15 years, there were no categories in which the majority of active managers outperformed their benchmarks. The boring approach wins almost every time. Here's something most investors completely overlook. Fees. They seem small, 1% here, 0.5% there, but they're devouring your wealth. According to Morningstar research, index funds carry an average fee of around 0.11% annually. Active funds? Around 0.59%. That difference seems tiny, but watch what happens over time. The SEC provides this example. An investor with $100,000 earning 4% annually with a 0.25% fee would have $208,000 after 20 years. With a 1% fee, only $179,000. That's $29,000 gone to fees. This is where you realize that small percentages add up to massive amounts over decades, where you start checking the expense ratio before buying any fund, and where you understand why wealthy investors obsess over keeping costs low. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You've heard this a million times. In investing, it's called diversification, and it's your protection against disaster. If you put all your money in one company and that company fails, you lose everything. But if you spread your money across hundreds of companies, one failure barely affects you. The others carry you through. Index funds provide instant diversification. An S&P 500 fund spreads your investment across 500 companies. International funds add global exposure. Bond funds add stability. Together, a resilient portfolio. Diversification doesn't guarantee profits, but it does protect you from catastrophic losses. And avoiding catastrophic losses? That's how you stay in the game long enough to win. How should you divide your investments? This is called asset allocation, and it depends largely on your age and risk tolerance. A simple starting rule: subtract your age from 110. That's roughly the percentage you might hold in stocks, the rest in bonds. So a 30-year-old might have 80% stocks, 20% bonds. A 50-year-old, 60-40. Stocks offer higher potential returns, but more volatility. Bonds offer lower returns, but more stability. Young investors can handle more volatility because they have decades to recover from downturns. Older investors need more stability because they'll need the money sooner. This isn't a rigid rule. It's a starting framework. Adjust based on your personal situation and comfort level. If your employer offers a 401k with matching, and you're not maxing out that match, you're literally refusing free money. Here's how it works. Many employers match your contributions up to a certain percentage. If they match 50% up to 6% of your salary, and you contribute 6%, they add another 3%. That's a 50% instant return on your money. According to behavioral economics research, automatic enrollment in 401k plans dramatically increases participation. In one study, 45% participated when they had to opt in, but 86% participated with automatic enrollment. This is where you sign up for that 401k you've been putting off, where you increase your contribution to at least get the full match, and where you set up automatic increases so your savings grow without you thinking about it. There's a brilliant strategy from behavioral economics called Save More Tomorrow. It was developed by researchers Thaler and Benartzi, and it works because it uses your psychology for you instead of against you. Here's the concept. Instead of committing to save more right now, which feels painful, you commit to save more later. Specifically, you commit to increasing your savings rate every time you get a raise. This is genius. The increase comes from your raise, so you never see your paycheck go down. You don't feel the loss. You just don't feel the full gain. And over time, your savings rate climbs without pain. In the original studies, participants who joined this program saw their savings rates climb dramatically over several years. Some went from 3% to over 13%. Let's talk about tax-advantaged accounts. Understanding the difference between Roth and traditional accounts can save you thousands in taxes. Traditional accounts, like a traditional 401k or traditional IRA, let you contribute pre-tax money. You get a tax deduction now. But when you withdraw in retirement, you pay taxes then. Roth accounts are the opposite. You contribute after-tax money, no tax deduction now. But here's the magic. When you withdraw in retirement, it's completely tax-free. All those gains, all that growth, tax-free. Generally, if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement, Roth is better. If you expect to be in a lower bracket, traditional is better. Many people benefit from having both types. Let me show you why tax-free growth is so powerful. Imagine you invest $100,000 and it grows to $500,000 over 25 years. In a regular taxable account, you might owe taxes on that $400,000 in gains. That could be $60,000 or more in taxes. In a Roth account, you keep all of it, the full $500,000, every single dollar. Because you already paid taxes on your contributions, the government can't touch your growth. This is especially powerful for young investors. You have decades for that tax-free growth to compound. The longer the time horizon, the more valuable tax-free growth becomes. This is where you open a Roth IRA if you haven't already, where you consider a Roth 401k if your employer offers one, and where you start thinking strategically about taxes in your investment planning. Let's circle back to emergency funds, because I've seen too many people skip this step, and it destroys their investing progress. According to Federal Reserve data, only 55% of adults have emergency savings sufficient to cover 3 months of expenses. That means nearly half of Americans are one crisis away from financial disaster. When emergencies happen without savings, people use credit cards, take out loans, raid retirement accounts, all of which destroy wealth building. A good emergency fund prevents this cascade of bad decisions. Your goal? 3 months of expenses minimum. 6 months is better. Keep it somewhere safe and accessible, like a high-yield savings account. Don't invest your emergency fund. It needs to be liquid. Where should you keep your emergency fund? Not in a regular savings account earning 0.01%. That's basically nothing. High-yield savings accounts, often from online banks, pay significantly more interest. While your emergency fund should be accessible, it should also be growing. Even small amounts help fight inflation. According to financial research, most Americans keep their emergency funds in regular savings accounts or checking accounts. But those who use high-yield savings accounts or money market accounts, they're making their safety net work harder. Shop around for the best rates. Online banks typically offer higher returns because they have lower overhead costs. Just make sure your account is FDIC insured for safety. Here's a trap that catches almost everyone. You get a raise, and suddenly your expenses rise to match. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's a wealth killer. You earn more, so you buy a nicer car, upgrade your apartment, dine out more often, buy more expensive clothes. Before you know it, you're spending everything you earn. Again, just at a higher level. Research from Millionaire Studies shows that wealthy people resist lifestyle inflation aggressively. Even as their income grows, their spending grows much slower. That gap? That's what they invest. That's how wealth is built. This is where you pause before upgrading just because you can, where you keep your old car even though you could afford new, and where you put at least half of every raise directly into investments. You've probably heard someone say, "Stop buying lattes and you'll be rich." Is that true? Sort of. Let me explain. Small daily expenses do add up over time. $5 a day is $150 a month, almost $2,000 a year. Invested over 30 years at 10%, that's over $300,000. The math is real. But here's the truth. It's not really about the latte. It's about awareness, about questioning whether your small daily purchases are giving you value proportional to their true long-term cost. This is where you calculate what that daily habit really costs over a lifetime, where you decide if the enjoyment is worth it knowing the full price, and where you make conscious choices instead of mindless spending. Here's a concept that changed my relationship with money: value-based spending. It's not about spending less on everything. It's about spending intentionally on what matters to you. Identify what truly brings you joy and fulfillment. Maybe it's travel. Maybe it's hobbies. Maybe it's experiences with family. Those things deserve your money. But everything else? Cut ruthlessly. Wealthy people, according to the research, spend lavishly on things they value, but they're extremely frugal on things they don't. They don't try to have everything nice. They have what matters nice. This approach is sustainable. You don't feel deprived. You're not white-knuckling a restrictive budget. You're simply choosing where your money goes, based on what actually makes your life better. Here's something wealthy people understand that most don't. Relying on a single income source is risky. Multiple income streams create stability and accelerate wealth building. Your job is one income stream. But what else could you add? Side hustles, investments that pay dividends, rental income, royalties from creative work, small businesses. The possibilities are endless. Even small additional income, when invested consistently, makes an enormous difference over time. An extra $300 monthly, invested for 30 years at 10%, becomes over $600,000. This is where you brainstorm skills you could monetize on the side, where you consider whether rental property could be in your future, and where you recognize that every extra dollar earned is a seed for wealth. Let me introduce you to one of my favorite wealth-building strategies: dividend investing. It's like getting paid just for owning stocks. Some companies pay shareholders a portion of their profits. These payments are called dividends. If you own shares in dividend-paying companies, you get regular cash payments. And you can reinvest those payments to buy more shares. This creates a beautiful cycle. You own shares, you get dividends, you buy more shares, you get more dividends. Over decades, this snowball effect becomes massive. Many wealthy investors focus on building dividend portfolios that eventually pay enough to cover their living expenses. That's when work becomes optional. That's financial freedom. Should you invest all your money at once or spread it out over time? This question causes so much stress. Let me give you the answer. Dollar cost averaging means investing a fixed amount at regular intervals, regardless of market conditions. Every month, same amount, like clockwork. You don't try to time the market, you just invest consistently. When prices are high, your fixed amount buys fewer shares. When prices are low, the same amount buys more shares. Over time, this averages out your purchase price and reduces the impact of volatility. Research shows that while lump sum investing sometimes performs better, dollar cost averaging is never catastrophically wrong. It removes emotion from investing, it creates discipline, and it works. Here's where most investors fail. When the market drops, they panic, they sell, they lock in their losses, and they miss the recovery. According to S&P 500 historical data, the market has always recovered from crashes, eventually. Every single time. The 2008 crash? Recovered. The 2020 pandemic crash? Recovered. The recoveries took time, but they happened. The investors who lost the most during market crashes? The ones who sold. They crystallized their paper losses into real losses, and then they missed the rebound. Double disaster. Stay the course. Stay invested. Don't look at your portfolio every day. The market will do what it does. Your job is to keep buying consistently. Over time, your portfolio drifts from its original allocation. Stocks might grow faster than bonds, and suddenly your 70% stocks portfolio is 80% stocks. You need to rebalance. Rebalancing means selling what's grown beyond your target and buying what's fallen below. It sounds counterintuitive. Sell winners? Buy losers? But this is how you sell high and buy low automatically. Most experts recommend rebalancing once or twice a year. Some use a threshold approach, rebalancing whenever any asset class drifts more than 5 or 10 percentage points from target. Many retirement accounts offer automatic rebalancing. Set it up and forget it. The account maintains your target allocation without any effort from you. Can you predict when the market will go up or down? No, you can't. Nobody can. Not consistently. And trying to time the market usually destroys wealth. Studies from the legendary investment firm Julius Baer confirm that investing in the S&P 500 and simply waiting 20 years typically produces better returns than actively managed portfolios trying to time the market. When you try to time the market, you have to be right twice. You have to know when to get out and when to get back in. Miss either timing, and you underperform simple buy and hold. Warren Buffett himself says his favorite holding period is forever. Time in the market beats timing the market. Every time. Let me tell you the real secret to wealth building. It's not finding the perfect investment. It's not timing the market. It's not having a huge income. It's consistency. Consistently saving. Consistently investing. Consistently staying the course through good times and bad. Month after month, year after year, decade after decade. That is what builds wealth. Research on wealth accumulation consistently shows that those who plan and save regularly accumulate more wealth than those who don't, regardless of income level. The tortoise really does beat the hare. This is where you automate your savings so consistency happens without willpower, where you ignore the financial news that screams for your attention, and where you trust the process even when it feels boring. You can't build wealth if a single disaster wipes you out. Insurance isn't exciting, but it's essential protection for everything you're building. Health insurance prevents medical bankruptcy, which is one of the leading causes of personal bankruptcy. Disability insurance protects your income if you can't work. Life insurance protects your family if something happens to you. Auto and home insurance protect your physical assets. Umbrella insurance provides extra liability protection as your wealth grows. The more you have to lose, the more important protection becomes. Think of insurance as a wall around your wealth. It costs money to maintain that wall, but without it, One storm could destroy everything you've built. This isn't fun to think about, but it's important. What happens to your wealth when you're gone? Without proper planning, it might not go where you want. A will specifies who receives your assets. Without one, the government decides, and their decisions might not match your wishes. Getting a basic will is not expensive, and it's absolutely essential. Beneficiary designations on retirement accounts and life insurance often over your will. Make sure these are updated. Marriage, divorce, children, life changes mean beneficiary changes. As your wealth grows, consider consulting an estate planning attorney. Trusts, tax strategies, and more complex planning can protect your legacy and minimize what goes to the government. There's an invisible thief stealing your money right now. It's called inflation. And if you don't account for it, you're getting poorer without realizing. Inflation means prices rise over time. What costs $100 today might cost $103 next year. If your money isn't growing at least as fast as inflation, you're losing purchasing power. This is why keeping cash in a regular savings account is dangerous long term. At 0.01% interest and 3% inflation, your money is shrinking by nearly 3% every year. According to investment research, the real return of the S&P 500 after adjusting for inflation is roughly 6 to 7% annually. That's real growth, actual increased purchasing power over time. Let's be crystal clear about the difference between investing and speculating. Understanding this distinction can save your financial life. Investing means buying assets with the expectation of reasonable returns over time based on fundamentals. Buying an index fund, purchasing dividend-paying stocks, contributing to your retirement account. These are investments. Speculation means trying to profit from price changes, often based on hype or hope. Buying cryptocurrencies you don't understand, day trading based on tips, chasing the latest hot stock. This is speculation, and it's much closer to gambling. Most people who build lasting wealth do it through investing. Most people who lose everything do it through speculation. Know which game you're playing. Here's something that explains the wealth gap. It's not just about income, it's about what you do with that income. According to financial literacy research, the more financially literate are more likely to participate in financial markets and invest in stocks. They're more likely to undertake retirement planning. And those who plan? They accumulate more wealth. The wealthy invest. They participate in markets. They let their money work for them. The non-wealthy? They consume. They save in low-yield accounts. Their money sits idle. This is where you realize that learning about money is one of the best investments you'll ever make, where you commit to continuous financial education, and where you start acting like a wealthy person, even before you become one. If someone promises you can get rich quick, run. Run the other direction. Real wealth is built slowly. Anything else is a scam or extremely high risk. Multi-level marketing schemes, cryptocurrency day trading, Forex robots, option strategies for guaranteed returns. These prey on people's desire for shortcuts, and they destroy countless financial futures. The millionaires studied by researchers didn't get rich quick. The median age of American millionaires is 57 years old. They built wealth over decades, slowly, patiently, consistently. There is no shortcut. The boring approach, save consistently, invest in index funds, wait decades, that works. The exciting approaches, those are how fortunes are lost. Several things can destroy the power of compound interest. You need to recognize and avoid these enemies. High fees eat your returns. Frequent trading creates tax consequences and transaction costs. Pulling money out during downturns locks in losses. Taking on high-interest debt reverses the compounding effect against you. Impatience is also an enemy. Checking your portfolio daily creates anxiety and tempts you to make emotional decisions.
The most successful investors often forget about their investments for years at a time. According to investment research, maintaining a long-term focus historically improves the odds of positive outcomes. The longer your time horizon, the better your chance of success.
What are you even saving for? Having clear goals makes saving so much easier and more meaningful. According to FinTech research, individuals who used apps to set specific saving goals were more successful at building savings compared to those without specific goals. Knowing what you're working toward matters. Define your goals. Retirement at what age? A home purchase? Children's education? Financial independence? Put numbers to them. Calculate what you need. Then, work backward to determine monthly savings requirements. This is where you write down exactly what financial freedom looks like to you, where you calculate how much you need to save monthly to reach your goals, and where you make that abstract dream concrete and achievable. How much do you need for retirement? Let's do a simple calculation that gives you a target. Many financial planners use the 4% rule. This suggests you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually without running out of money. So, if you need $40,000 per year in retirement, you need $1 million. Sound like a lot? Let's break it down. Investing $500 monthly at 10% return for 30 years gives you approximately $1 million. 500 monthly for 30 years. It's achievable. This is a simplified calculation. Your actual needs depend on many factors, but it gives you a target, something to aim for, something to measure your progress against. If you don't track it, you can't improve it. Tracking your net worth is essential for building wealth. Net worth is simple: assets minus liabilities. What you own minus what you owe. Your house value minus your mortgage. Your investments minus your debts. That's your net worth. Check it monthly or quarterly. Watch the trend. Is it going up? Good. Is it stagnant or declining? Something needs to change. Watching your net worth grow is incredibly motivating. Every month you see the number increase, you feel the progress. It reinforces positive behaviors. It makes the sacrifice worth it. Cutting expenses only goes so far. At some point, you need to earn more. Increasing your income accelerates everything. Negotiate your salary. Research shows most people who ask for raises get them, but most people never ask. Job hop strategically. Staying at the same company often means lower raises than changing jobs. Develop valuable skills. Learn things that command higher pay. Technology skills, sales skills, leadership skills. Invest in yourself and your earning capacity. This is where you finally ask for that raise you deserve, where you consider whether changing jobs could boost your income, and where you think about what skills would make you more valuable in the marketplace. The learning doesn't stop here. Financial education is a lifelong journey. Read books on personal finance and investing. Listen to podcasts. Follow reputable financial educators. Stay curious about how money works. According to wealth accumulation research, financial literacy has significant effects on wealth building. Every concept you learn, every principle you understand, contributes to better financial decisions over your lifetime. But be careful with your sources. Much financial content online is designed to sell you something. Look for educators with no hidden agenda. Prefer evidence-based advice over opinions and hype. Building wealth is hard. You don't have to do it alone. Research from behavioral economics found that people who save in groups, where their goals are observed by others who can monitor progress, save more than individuals saving alone. Find your community. A spouse or partner committed to the same goals. Friends on similar financial journeys. Online communities focused on wealth building. Financial accountability partners. When others know your goals, you're more likely to achieve them. When you face setbacks, others provide support. The journey is easier together. Life happens. Job losses,
medical emergencies, family crises. Your wealth-building journey will face setbacks. The question is, how will you respond? First, don't beat yourself up. Setbacks are normal, even expected. The path to wealth is rarely a straight line. Use your emergency fund. That's what it's for. Pause investing temporarily if needed, but start again as soon as possible. Review your budget and find cuts. Consider temporary income sources. Setbacks are temporary. Giving up is permanent. Every wealthy person faced obstacles. The difference? They got back up. They kept going. And eventually, they won. Here's my most practical advice. Automate everything you can. Automate your savings transfers. Automate your investment contributions. Automate your bill payments. Remove the need for willpower. Remove the option to skip or forget. According to behavioral economics research, automatic enrollment dramatically increases participation rates in savings, in investing, in almost everything. Defaults matter, so make the right choices your default. When everything is automated, wealth building happens on autopilot. You don't think about it. You don't make emotional decisions. The system works for you. The best gift you can give your children isn't money. It's financial education. Start teaching them young. Give them allowance and help them budget it. Let them make mistakes with small amounts. Explain concepts like saving, interest, and investing in age-appropriate ways. Open investment accounts for them. Show them how their money grows. Let them experience compound interest personally. Children who learn financial literacy early have a massive head start. They avoid the mistakes most people make in their 20s. They start investing sooner. They build wealth from the beginning. Once a year, take time to review everything. Your goals, your progress, your strategies, your accounts. Are you on track? Do your goals need adjustment? Is your portfolio properly allocated? Are you paying unnecessary fees anywhere? Life changes. Your job changes. Your family changes. Your goals change. Your financial plan should evolve to match your evolving life. Set a specific date, maybe your birthday, for your annual financial review. Make it a tradition. Make it non-negotiable. Your future self will thank you. I cannot emphasize this enough. Patience is the ultimate wealth-building virtue. Research consistently shows that time in the market is more important than timing the market. Many investors spend so much time on strategies and timing, they forget the most powerful lesson. Simply wait it out. Warren Buffett's wealth isn't just about investing skill. It's about investing early and waiting long. He started as a child. He's been invested for decades. That's the secret. Extraordinary patience. Your wealth isn't built by this year's returns, or next year's. It's built by decades of consistent effort. Plant the seeds, water them, and wait. Let's summarize your action plan. Everything you need to do, step by step. Step 1. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Step 2. Eliminate high-interest debt. Step 3. Contribute enough to your 401k to get the full employer match. Step 4. Max out a Roth IRA if eligible. Step 5. Increase 401k contributions toward the maximum. Step 6. Open a taxable brokerage account and invest in low-cost index funds. Step 7. Automate everything. Step 8. Stay the course for decades. This is where you write down these steps and put them where you'll see them daily, where you commit to completing Step 1 within the next 30 days, and where you begin your journey to actual wealth starting today. Everything I've shared with you today works. The research proves it. The studies confirm it. Millions of people have built wealth using these exact principles. But knowledge without action is worthless. You can watch 100 more videos, read 100 books. None of it matters unless you implement what you learn. The difference between people who build wealth and people who stay broke? It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's decisions. Daily choices. Consistent behaviors. Taking action when others make excuses. So what will your choice be? Starting today, this moment, what will you do with what you've learned? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself 30 years from now. You followed this plan. You were patient. You were consistent. And now, you're financially free. No stress about bills, no worry about retirement, no dependence on jobs you hate. Options, choices, freedom. That's what wealth building creates. That's what's waiting for you. The journey starts with a single step. Open that savings account today. Set up that automatic transfer this week. Make your first investment this month. The compound interest clock starts ticking the moment you begin. Your future self is counting on you. Don't let them down. Start now. And I'll see you on the other side of financial freedom.